What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be episode number 42. Hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving and holiday with the family and friends. Let's get back into the poker action. This one's a two-part session. We got started off at the Aria and didn't get a ton of hands, just felt like going home. So I went and played a few days later at the South Point. So this is those two sessions combined. You're going to like this one. A lot of good hands. It's got a little bit of everything. So let's get right into it.
All right, we won a couple bucks in the 1-3 game before getting called for the 2-5, buying for the max 1500. I actually made a quick table change. My table looked awful, and it looks like we made a good choice. This table looks much better, and our first playable hand is pocket aces. We are under the gun and open for $20. We get called by the next two players. We're hoping somebody squeezes out of the late position or the blinds, but it doesn't happen. Action folds to the small blind, who makes the call. So we're going four ways to a flop with aces. Not looking good already until the flop comes ace, king, 5 with 2 hearts. We flop top set. So now we are feeling pretty darn good about it, and even better when the small blind comes out of nowhere, leads for $35. I expected this to happen 0% of the time, but every once in a while, player likes to lead into the razor, and typically it's a very marginal one pair hand or a draw. So I debate raising right here because we do have flush and straight draws out there, but I take the risky play, just call. If I raise, it's going to look super strong with two players behind, and how strong can the small blind really be? So in order to try to get some more value, I flat here, player behind me makes the call, and the last player folds. So it could backfire, but if we get a bad turn card, we can just play it accordingly and lose the minimum. But we do go 3 ways to a very safe turn, the 4 of clubs, and the small blind comes firing again, this time for $100. So I'm thinking maybe he just hit the case ace. You know, it could be ace 5 even. So now I think it's time to put in a raise. If he does have a draw, we're going to charge him now, and then we have a player behind as well. So I take it up to $325. Really just expecting both players to fold, and that's what happens. Next player folds quickly, small blind tanks for a little bit, and lets it go. So we take a nice pot with pocket aces. Just one orbit later, we look down at another nice pair, pocket 10s. We are under the gun +1. This time, under the gun player opens for 20. I make the call. Action folds around to the big blind, who defends. We're going 3 ways to another amazing flop. 10, 5, 3 rainbow. We flop the nuts again. First player checks it, and the original raiser continuation bets for $30 as expected. It's a pretty blank looking board. Probably doesn't expect it to connect with us very well. Action's on me, and now do I want to just flat or make a raise here? I decide to put in the raise. The original raiser looks like a player, and if he has an overpair here, I don't think he's ever folding, because he's going to be like, why is he raising on such a dry board if I do have a set? So I decide to take it up to $100. Maybe he thinks I have a 10. And if he does have jacks or better, there's no way he's ever folding. So I make it $100. Big blind folds, and the original raiser does make the call. It's great news because now I think he really has an overpair. Doubtful he's floating with ace king or ace queen out of position here. He's probably just going to let that go. So we got him pegged on an overpair. Hopefully we can get some more value. We see a blank 9 of clubs on the turn. Heads up now, we still have the absolute nuts. He checks it over to me. I continue with a decent sized bet, $175, and he does make the call. All right, so we're looking to dodge any overcard on the river since we're not sure what pair he has, but the river does bring a jack of clubs. Not really a great card. It completes some backdoor straights and flushes, but like I said on the flop, I don't think he floated us there with like ace king or ace queen of clubs. I think he's going to let that go, so it's most likely an overpair. So when he checks it to me, I got to go for some value. My original plan was to go for all of it since he had about a pot-sized bet left. See if he wants to pay it off with aces or kings. But I don't think he can call that now with this type of board texture. Now he can't even beat 10 jack, 9, 10. So I size it down a little bit, betting around half the pot. I make it $325, and he tanks for quite a while before tossing out the call, so we know we got the winner here. We show the set of 10s, and it's good. Next, we look down at another premium hand, ace king suited in the cutoff. We see a limp from under the gun. Next player makes it 25. He replaced the player from last hand in the 9 seat. He bought in for $500. Action's on me, and I 3-bet to $80. Folds around to the original raiser, who makes the call. We're going heads up to a nice flop, 8, 5-3 with 2 spades. He checks it over to me. With this type of board, I'm going to bet pretty big with all of my strong overpairs, so that's what I do here with my draw. I bet $160. He has about 420 left, so we know we're never folding anyway with 2 overs, nut flush draw, and he does indeed rip it all in. Hopefully he just has 9s or better, and our ace and king are live. He wants to run it twice. I say okay. Turn is a 6 of spades, queen of diamonds for the first board. We have the nuts. Second board, jack of spades, 6 of clubs. We have the stone nuts on both boards, so I just roll it over. And he does indeed say he had an overpair, so we were a slight favorite there, but pretty lucky to win both boards. We are running smoking hot. Next, we look down at 3-4 suited from the low jack. Let's see how hot we're really running. Action folds around to me. The under the gun straddle's on, so I take it up to $35 to play. Action folds around to the straddler who defends. We go heads up to a flop, queen 9-5 with a couple of diamonds. He checks it over to me, and I put out a $40 continuation bet with our baby flush draw, backdoor straight draw, and he makes the call. Turn improves our hand with an offsuit 3. We pick up a pair to go along with our flush draw. He checks it over to me, and now I have a decision if I want to take the free card or maybe push him off a slightly better hand, like say a pair of 9s or 5s. Maybe he has 10 jack or king jack. In that case, we're in the lead. I think I like a bet here. If I have ace queen or better, I'm always going to size up here on the turn. So that's what I do. I bet $115 and he makes the call. Looking to get bailed out by any 3, 4, or diamond on the river would be great. We don't get it though. It's the 7 of clubs. All the obvious draws miss. So when he checks it to me, we have a little showdown value. I don't think it's a good spot to keep firing. I check it back and he shows us king queen for top pair. Once he called on the turn, pretty sure he had a queen there at that point, so had to give that one up. Nice hand, sir. Nothing eventful for about an hour until looking down at pocket kings in the cutoff. Action folds around to me and I raise to 20 bucks. Only get called by the big blind who has not been able to drag a single pot. He's stuck about 1,500, has 420 in his stack. So we go heads up to the best flop ever. King, king 9 with 2 clubs. We flop quads again here at the Aria. He checks it over to me, and with most of my hands, I'm going to bet small. So that's what I do, bet $10, and he makes the call. He can't really have anything but a 9 or a flush draw, right? So turn brings a 6 of clubs. Great card. We want this board to get as ugly as possible. He checks it to me. I check this one back for deception, hoping to induce a bet on the river. And the river brings a 4 of clubs. It's a great card, putting 4 clubs on the board. Hoping he has something to pay off, maybe a club. So when he checks it to me, I doubt he's checking a big hand. I just go for it. I bet 60 bucks about the pot. And to our surprise, here comes the check raise to 160. Did he actually make a hand this time? And can we get all of it? He only has about 240 left. Think he's committed, so I go ahead and say all in. He quickly makes the call, and the poor guy has the ace of clubs. So terrible run out for him, miracle run out for me, and we're able to get all of it there with quads. Game dried up a bit after that, so we book an $1,176 win. The vlog's not over, guys. We head over to the South Point just a couple days later. No 3-5 game tonight, so we jump in the 2-3. It's a 600 cap on the buy-in. It's a great game. Our first playable hand is 8-9 offsuit out of the big blind. We have the $6 button straddle on. Hijack limps. Small blind raises to 17. For some reason, I decide to just defend this one, thinking both limpers might call, and that's what happens. The hijack and straddler both make the call. So we go 4 ways to a flop. King 9-9 with a couple of hearts. We flop trips right off the bat here. Small blind leads right up for 25 bucks, and I make the call. Hijack folds, and the straddler makes the call. So we're going 3 ways to a jack of clubs on the turn. We got a couple of hearts, couple of clubs on the board now, and the first player checks. Definitely going to make a wager here on the turn, but don't want to go too big multi-way. I don't want to push out any kings the small blind might have. Not sure where the straddler is at. He might have a draw, so I bet 65 bucks, and both players make the call. 3 ways looking for a blank on the river, and we get a super safe card. 6 of diamonds. Both flush draws miss. Not worried about much out here. Small blind checks. I'm wondering how much we can get from any king. So I end up deciding on a bet of $175. Button makes the fold. He was the only one we were worried about having a better 9. Action's on the small blind now. We're hoping he has ace king and can make this call. He eventually does make the crying call. We show the goods, and he shows pocket aces. So we crack aces in a very big pot. Get lucky to flop trips on that one. Next, we look down at Queen 10 offsuit. It's my $6 under the gun straddle. Action folds around to the hijack who limps. Small blind takes it up to $26. He has 500 in his stack. You guys know me, I defend my straddle pretty light. I don't straddle the fold, so I make the call. And the limper makes the call. So we go 3 ways to a flop. Ace, 4, deuce with 2 hearts. So not much going here. I expect the small blind to continuation bet, but he doesn't. He checks, so I check, and the hijack checks. 3 ways to a 5 of clubs on the turn, putting a 1 card straight on board with a 3. Now the small blind checks it again. Now I can't really resist myself. Feel like we have a good spot to maybe steal this one. Maybe the small blind has like pocket kings, maybe jacks even. Maybe he checked an ace on that flop, then got the scare card on the turn and didn't want to bet. So I fire out a bet of $60, looking to just steal this one. The hijack folds, which is good news, and the small blind tanks for a little bit and makes the call, but looks really uncomfortable. All right, so we go heads up to a blank king of diamonds on the river, and my opponent quickly checks it to me, and he's looking over at me. I can feel his eyes on me. I see him start grabbing for chips. You know how players do that sometimes? They want to project strength, but what they really want is you to check back. A lot of times when that happens, I'm going to fire even more. So I decide to go for it in a huge way. I could just give this one up, but I'm most likely to have a 3 in this situation, being the straddle. So I go ahead and 2x pot it, rip it in. That's the beauty of this game, putting someone to the ultimate test for all their chips at any time. So I stick out a stack of green chips, and he goes into the tank.
Calls the all in.
You win.
Set of aces.
Oh boy, we run into the top of his range there with a high variance play that does not go our way this time, but they have been working out, so I'm not even mad about it, just glad I executed. Put him in the toughest spot possible though, with 3 aces right there. I know he hated it. He definitely wasn't trapping. I think when he checked that flop and got that turn, he was like, oh shit, why did I check, right? And then river, he was hoping I checked back for sure. I could tell. Otherwise, he would have snap called if he was trapping. So that one doesn't work out, but I'm still happy with it. And now we are back even. The player I just doubled up racks up and leaves immediately. Now we're 5-handed. Let's try the under the gun straddle again, shall we? This time I have deuce 6 offsuit. First player limps, small blind limps, big blind folds. I check the option. We go 3 ways to a great flop. Queen 6-6. With 2 spades, we flop trips again. Small blind leads right out for $10. I go ahead and flat call here, and the next player calls as well. 3 ways to a blank 3 of hearts on the turn. Now the small blind slows down, checks. He got called in 2 spots there. I go ahead and size up, bet $50, looking to get value from a queen or deny equity from spades. Next player calls the 50, and the small blind gets out of the way. Heads up to a blank 5 of clubs on the river. Since he called a big bet on the turn, I think it's a little less likely he missed a draw. I think he has some showdown value, so I stick with a pretty good sized bet of $100, looking to target all the queens, and he does indeed toss out the call. I show trip 6s, and we're good. He said he limped in with pocket kings under the gun, and he kicked himself in the butt for that one. Feels nice to get some of that money we just bluffed off right back with deuce 6. Shortly after that one, we have ace queen offsuit in the cutoff. We're still 5-handed. Action folds around to me. I raise to $10. Only get a call. I'm sorry, we don't get a call. We get a 3 bet from the big blind up to $40. He's got about 260 behind. I don't know. I don't really want to call with ace queen off. It's not going to play well after the flop, so figure we're short-handed. He could be 3-betting kind of light, so I want to see if he wants to play for all of it. I go ahead and 4-bet to $135, and he does want to play for all of it. He rips it all in for about $290 total. I go ahead and make the call. We run the board out, no help. 9, 4, 3, 10, 3 on the board. He shows ace king, and that's going to be good enough to take it down. Now we are stuck about $300. Shortly after this, I ran to the bathroom, came back to a broken game, so get moved to a new 2-3 game. 5 minutes after I sit, I pick up ace king offsuit from under the gun +1. The $6 button straddle is on, so I go ahead and raise to $20. We get calls from the cutoff, the straddler, and the small blind. So we're taking ace king 4 ways to a flop, 9, 4, 3. We miss completely, no help. Small blind checks. I go ahead and check this one, and the cutoff and straddler check. So we get a free turn card, which improves our hand. Ace of clubs. We pick up top pair, top kicker. First player checks. I go ahead and bet $60. Want to deny equity from the clubs. Hopefully someone picked up an ace as well. To my surprise, I get called by the cutoff and the straddler. Small blind gets out of the way, so I'm hoping one of them hit an ace, and maybe the other has a flush draw. We get a pretty safe river card, the jack of diamonds. Flush draw misses. The only thing we're worried about is like a jack 9 or ace jack. So I size it up though. I bet $175 on the river because the straddler has about 140 behind. Cutoff has quite a bit of money, has about 500. Cutoff ends up making the fold. Straddler tanks for quite a while and tosses out the rest of his money. We show ace king and it's good for a big pot. He shows us an ace, so we have him out kick there and take down a nice big pot at the new table. We seat change to my favorite vlogging chair over in the 7 seat. We look down at ace 3 suited in my under the gun straddle. Action folds around to the big blind who raises to $18. I go ahead and defend in position here. We go heads up to a nice flop, ace 5 deuce with 1 club. So we got top pair and a gut shot. My opponent quickly leads out for $30. No sense in raising here. He's either got us crushed or we have him crushed. So I go ahead and make the call. Turn is a 9 of hearts. He continues firing with a bet of 45. It's a good price, seems fair to me. I make the call. River is a deuce of hearts, pairing the board. Now he fires out $50. Can't fold now, we come this far. Got to look him up here. I make the call, and he announces a 9 and has 9-4. I don't even know if it was suited or not. Doesn't matter, but we take down a nice little pot there with a pair of aces. I think this is a good hand to mention what I've noticed over the years as a dealer in low stakes and player. Recreational players seem to make these small bet bluffs on rivers, as you notice throughout that hand. If he sizes up on the turn there, or even river, I can probably let that one go. But I see that a lot. They're less likely to take big risks with big bets on the river. He's going to keep it small and try to bluff me off a better hand. And it can be effective sometimes because you almost feel like you're getting milked right there. But I think that's a key hand to mention that. This takes us to the last hand of the night, guys. We have ace king suited on my button straddle. What a beautiful thing. Action folds around to the small blind who limps for 6. The big blind, I think it's his very first hand. He bought in for 300. He raises to $25. Actions on me, of course. We are 3-betting for sure. I go ahead and throw out 100. Small blind folds, and he quickly rips it all in, as you can see right there. We go ahead and make the call, and I've never heard anybody so sure that he was going to lose.
Okay. Can't beat you.
I got no pair so far.
Me neither.
Maybe same hand.
There you go. Nice hand. King's good.
Yeah, king.
King's good.
Queen's your first hand?
And now I made that flush. So the board runs out nicely. King high flop. Then we backdoor the nut flush. So I just roll it over, show the nuts, and we take down a nice big pot. He leaves, and then the game breaks. So we're going to book another win here. $550 after bluffing off that money and being stuck. Nice to make a comeback. So between the aria and here, we pick up a little over $1725. Let's get to the end of the video, have a little chat, go over the stats, and get to a trick shot.
All right, that's going to do it for episode number 42. Hope you guys enjoyed all the hands. If you did, hit that subscribe and the like. I really appreciate it. Very thankful for all of you guys. As always, here are the No Limit Hold'em stats after every session we record. 1 year in, doing pretty good. Hopefully we can get to this full time before the World Series next year. That's my goal. So I really appreciate all you guys. In other news, as you can see, this shirt, we did start a little merch store with the logo and empty racks, please. I don't know why that slogan stuck with me from work at the end of the night, and at the tables we're always like, empty racks, please. Kind of had a good ring to it. I almost named my channel Empty Racks. So yeah, check out the store if you just want to support the channel even further. I really appreciate it. It's going to be the link in the description box and on my About Me page. I'm looking to get some discount codes here soon, so maybe check out my Instagram. I'll put that in my story, or I'll post on YouTube as well. Just a post that if I can get a discount code going for a few weeks. All right, that's pretty much it. The next video is going to be from the South Point. We played the night before Thanksgiving, and the game got crazy. A lot of people were drinking, including myself. So this is going to be a fun one to go over. and that's going to be ready probably next Wednesday. So stay tuned for that one. Have a good one, guys. Have a great weekend. We will see you next time. Best of luck at the tables. Peace.